Welcome back to the Run Dusty Run podcast, where runners from all over the world share their stories and running journeys. Along the way, we hope you'll be inspired, encouraged, and that community will be built. Today, we have a very special guest with us, someone who has ran 30 marathons, if my memory serves me correctly. Welcome to the podcast, Jesse Marquardt. Jesse, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Dusty. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me here.
We are so glad that you're here. I know that to so many people across the country on social media, just really all over the place, you are a great inspiration to each and every one of them and us. And so without further ado, we'll get started if you're ready for the icebreaker round.
I'm ready.
All right. Rapid fire, Jesse. Here we go. Weirdest thing you've ever seen while out for a run.
It's weird but amazing, but I saw a whale jumping out of the ocean.
Fantastic. Things I have not seen in Kansas while running. All right. What is your biggest running ick?
When people don't welcome all runners.
Okay. If there were an animal that most closely resembles your running style, what animal is it?
That's a really great question. I feel like an elephant, they don't go super fast, but they can go very long. They go very long every single day. And they're very consistent and they're very smart. I think I would say an elephant.
All right, here we go. This will be a little more rapid fire now. Actually, one more. I am very curious to know this. If there is an anthem, Jesse, for your running, what is your running anthem?
I'm going to take this from a friend of mine that just was asked this similar question. I'm going to say Party in the USA, just come right over the United States.
All right. Now for a little this or that, and then we're going to get into the serious stuff. Morning run or evening run?
Morning.
All right. Hills or speed work?
Speed work.
Rain or wind?
Rain.
All right. Coffee before or after the run?
I do coffee before my long run and coffee after, so both.
Before and after. I'm with you there. I am with you there. All right. Which would you rather have? A better marathon medal or marathon shirt?
Shirt.
All right. Finish fast or look good in race photos?
I would love to finish fast.
All right. Final question. You're not the first person I've asked this question to. So here we go. Porta potty line or mile 20 emergency?
Porta potty line.
And finally, if you had to give a 30-minute speech on something that had nothing to do with your job, family, or running, what are you going to give a speech about for 30 minutes?
Disney World.
Disney World. All right. You survived it. You did great. Thank you.
So excited. I love that. I could do that all day long. That's
all right. All right. Jesse, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from and what do you do and how did you get into running?
Yeah. So, right now, I live just right outside of Atlanta. So I do about 10 to 12 interviews every day. If I'm not doing that, I'm out traveling and recruiting. I'm married, and my husband is 6'10", and I'm 5'5", so huge difference.
Wow.
I've been married for almost 18 years. We have a 13-year-old daughter. She is also like 5'9", so super tall. We're a basketball family. It's all about basketball. And what got me into running, I actually, so I went to college in Missouri, so not too far away from where you are. And I graduated, and my first thing I wanted to do was join the military. And so I went into an Air Force recruiter's office, and I said, I just want information. That's all. I just want information on joining the military. And they said, follow me. And they put me back in this room in the back, and they put me on a scale, and I was about 250 pounds, and they said, this is how much you weigh, this is how much you need to weigh, come back to us when you weigh that much. And it was just so rude the way that they told me. So I don't know, I felt like at that point in my life, I had never had anyone tell me I couldn't do something because of my size. Used to definitely make fun of my friends that would run all the time. I had some friends that were like in cross country, and I'm like, all you guys do is run everywhere. So I ended up going back to McDonald's where I worked. And I was like, let me see if I can change the way I ate. That was my number one, let me just change my diet. At that time, I was probably drinking like, I don't know, 5 to 6 Cokes a day. I remember having like grabbing like a hamburger or a cheeseburger and just like having it as a snack on my way to lunch. I would like devour large pizzas all by myself. I had to change a lot. And so I did that little by little, started losing the weight, lost 100 pounds in a year. That same
Wow.
recruiter saw me because it was a very small town that I lived in. That same recruiter saw me, came back and said, "Hey, Jesse, you look amazing. Come see me. Let's get you signed up." And I said, "You know what? I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to go to college." So I decided to go the college route, finished in Missouri, graduated, and then moved out to Arizona. In Arizona, I was poor and I just wanted to kind of keep up with my health and fitness that I had started. And so I said, let me just try to run to do is run 1 mile. And it took me so long to be able to reach that 1 mile, like without stopping. Like I would just walk and go, walk and go. And so I finally was able to reach that 1 mile. And then after that, somebody asked me if I would do a 5K, and then the rest is history. I just kind of went up and up.
And so 30 marathons later, over 27 different states. Tell us, we'll back up a little bit, I guess. Tell us about your journey as, as those who follow you on social media know, sober since June of 2009. Congratulations. That's incredible. Just tell us a little bit about what that journey has been like. And
so I moved to Arizona. I was very deep. I definitely had a drinking problem, didn't recognize it until later. I'm sure my friends did. My friends and family definitely knew. I was in Arizona for about 5 years, and then I moved out to Boston. In Boston, definitely my drinking got worse and worse until the barrel moment was when I almost ruined an entire wedding of my best friend. And my best friend had been my best friend for over 30 years. We knew each other since middle school, and she had always been there to pick up the pieces. And it was her family's wedding that I ruined. And so after that, she said, "Jesse, I can't do it anymore. I can't be the one that picks up the pieces. It's either drinking or me." So that day I had to make the decision, and I did. And I decided to go the therapy route. So I went multiple times a week for a little over a year. And then I just went regularly, but it was very intense at the beginning. And we uncovered a lot of why it was even the drinking problem was there. It also runs rapid in my family. Like everybody was addicted to something. So once I stopped drinking, I really got more into running, and not waking up sick was probably one of the best parts of not drinking anymore, because I was that type of person that I woke up so sick every single morning. Being able to wake up early and get out there and run is favorite things about being sober, and something that I remind myself every time, because even though it's been so long since I drank, I still think about it. And I'm like, man, I wish I could do that like everyone else. But I just keep reminding myself of that feeling of waking up feeling good and being able to get out and run and not be sick everywhere.
Right. So tell us, obviously, from that time that you went out to run that first mile to here we are in 2026, 30 marathons over 27 states down, training for another one coming up in Indy, right, in the fall. Is that correct?
November, yep.
So tell us a little bit about what that journey has been like. I mean, we all are aware that doesn't just happen overnight, that sort of training and that commitment and that really what becomes a lifestyle. Tell us a little bit about what that's been like as a wife and a mom and working and the full load of it all.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot. I can tell you that in January 2012 is when, well, before that, to start a family. And I said, you know what? I want half marathons in Boston. And I thought that would be the longest distance I ever run. And I
Uh-huh.
said, you know what? Let me just run one marathon. I want to do one marathon and just cross it off my list.
Famous last words.
Yeah, never again. So I decided to do that. One of my favorite places in the world is just Disney World. And so I remember going down there and the morning after we got there, we went to have breakfast. We went down there, and my best friend of 30 some years, she was there from Las Vegas with her husband surprising me. I had no idea they would be there. And then we went to the expo where I picked up my number. I came out of the bathroom, looked to my left, and my mom and dad, and they surprised me
Wow.
from Arizona. So that finish line not only was like the first marathon finish, but just with having my whole family and my best friends there, like it
Yeah.
just surpassed every type of feeling I could ever feel from drinking or doing drugs or any of
Yeah.
that. So I was like, I wish we could describe it in the exact words that it feels like, because
Yeah.
it just was everything to me.
Yeah.
I ended up getting pregnant with Riley like 2 weeks later, and then the next year I did my second one in the next October because I couldn't stop. Like I
Right.
needed to feel that finish line feels again.
Yeah.
And then my husband is my number one cheerleader. He supports me. He said, I told him this crazy idea of like, oh my gosh, like I did one in Florida. Now I did one in
Yeah.
Massachusetts. Like, what if I just do every state? He was like, whatever you want to do. That sounds great. That sounds amazing. So
Yeah.
I started doing that. At the very beginning, it was only like, I want to say it was like one, that's what we end up saying, but like
Yeah.
one or two a year at the very beginning. I remember my Chicago year, I focused on that one marathon only, just Chicago, for
Uh-huh.
that whole year. And I also decided that it would be a great idea to raw fruits and vegetables only for
Wow.
my diet. So you can imagine where that went that year. My Chicago, and then plus, of course, it was hot at my Chicago marathon. So I got injured, my leg was all messed up, and
Oh,
fuel is so important, and
right.
nutrition is so important when you're having to run these marathons. But then I switched over and started training for 3 marathons a year. I do have an amazing coach that I love so, so much. She helps me create all my plans. She sat down with me at the very beginning. She said, "Hey, Jesse, what's your goal?" And I
Yeah.
said, "I just want to get to every start line uninjured and just be able to make it through. And not
Yeah.
just that, but it would be great if I feel okay at that and not
Right.
like I'm dying."
Yeah.
So that's what we've been able to do. So at least like if I'm traveling for work or if I'm very busy, like that's the last thing I have to do is like make a plan of how many miles I have to run or whatever.
Right.
She does all that for me, which is great. And yeah, just my biggest thing is I try to wake up before anyone else does, so I'm not missing out on like home life, but that does like have an effect on your sleep.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't sleep much, but that's why I drink so much coffee, but
There you go.
yeah.
It's justified.
Yeah, so right now I'm averaging 3 a year,
Okay.
hoping to be done 7 more years roughly. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, knock on wood, it goes as well as it's been going. But now I'm all done with pretty much all of the perimeter states. Now I'm
Okay.
like, working my way in to like maybe not the most exciting states.
Yeah, I know exactly the kind of states you're talking about. The less scenic and less coastal states. Yeah, I can relate. So 30 marathons, that's absolutely incredible. I know you mentioned having a supportive spouse is huge, and I'm thankful that I too can relate to that. My wife is very supportive to have the kind of spouse that instead of asking, are you going to go running again? It's, hey, how was your run? There's a big difference there. And just to see them surprising you at the finish line or in the middle of a race or even at a start line is it's really tough to beat that. So tell us, Jesse, I know that family plays a big role, a supporting role in your running journey, has and continues to. But I also know that you have inspired many others as well. In fact, some guests that I've even recently had on the podcast multiple folks have pointed to you as a source of inspiration. And so tell us who have been some of your maybe inspirations along the way of this insanely incredible running journey of yours.
Get back to in Boston, I actually I was in a run club, Mellors Run Club. It was full of people that ran marathon after marathon. We're talking like Boston Marathon every single year for 30 years, like just crazy amount of marathons. And to the point where you felt like a marathon was like no big deal because everybody there ran so many of
Right,
them.
just like a 5K, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole reason why, like,
Yeah.
I joined that run club, and I'll never forget my first day pulling up to that run club and just how nervous I was. Because many marathons or races that you do, sometimes you just don't feel like a runner, like,
Yeah.
it's not who you are. So, I pulled up, I remember seeing everyone, and they all just, like, look like real runners, and I was like, "I don't belong here,"
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna be able to just fit in here.
Yeah.
And so I remember going in and they just welcomed me with open arms. And each one of those people there just really, really inspired me to want to keep going. And I have one of my best friends, her name's Courtney, and she travels with me to a lot of my marathons around the country. She doesn't have a goal to run a marathon in every state, but little by little, she is running a marathon in every
Funny how
state.
that works, right?
Yeah. And she's so incredible. She's a front of the pack runner. We did one in Tennessee and she was the first female overall and
My goodness.
she ran forever we didn't find out till later that it was a fractured hip.
My
And
goodness.
she ended up getting giant pins in her hip. And she actually ran a marathon a year later. And she was so fast. It was incredible. And and she's bionic now. Now she's fast and
It
bionic.
doesn't
And
even
it's just,
count.
yep. She inspires me a lot. She always does it with a smile on her face. And I love her to death. And she lives in Boston, so I don't see her as much, but she's
Sure.
incredible.
Awesome. So, to our listening audience who maybe they're just searching for, I know where we live now, and I don't need to tell you, you live in Atlanta, so you know what hot and humid is like. It's kind of that time of year where kind of a lot of the 5Ks have wrapped up. I know there's another wave of those that sort of come in the fall, but a lot of people here and really everywhere sort of maybe training for that first half marathon or maybe that step into maybe trying their first full marathon. And it can seem pretty daunting to start that 16-week training plan in the dead of August heat. What's some encouragement or advice that you would have to somebody who's maybe kind of afraid to take that first step or to really kind of give a shot or give that first half marathon or full marathon a shot?
Yeah, it's all about the small goals, taking it slow, training for his first marathon ever. And I was telling him the other day because he's just running these every single run at like full throttle. And I'm just like, that's like a recipe for disaster. Let's take it slow. Like you have to take it slow. And he's like, oh, Jesse, I took it really, really slow, like 8-minute mile. And I'm just like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to do it for so long. I'm like,
Yeah.
slow it down a little bit and just taking it slow and just looking at the small tiny goals first.
Uh-huh.
Like for me, like going back to day one when I was trying to run that first mile nonstop without stopping, like
Right.
I think about that moment all the time because it took me so long to get to that 1 mile mark.
Yeah.
So I think that just looking at those small, tiny goals first, once you reach that goal, then you go to your next, your next, your
Yeah.
next. And that's so important. And also just taking it slow, especially during these summer months. Like,
Yeah.
I promise you that people drive around and see me running and think it's my very first time running ever. Like the way that I must look when I'm running in the
Yeah.
heat, it is so sad. Like
we see those reels of like, this is how I think I look when I'm running, and it's like this U.S. track athlete, and how we really look, and it's like this sloth crawling along the road. I can relate to that. I remember too, first starting out, and I still think about this. A buddy and I, his name's Cliff. We were training for our first half marathon, and he was born faster than me, but just running as fast as I could, as far as I could, and then getting up the next day and trying to do it again. And that worked out real solid for about 6 days. And
Yeah.
then I just felt like a train wreck. So then I remember just kind of backing off a little bit, and it literally was a walk jog interval thing, which was it seemed crazy at the time. It didn't make sense, but sometimes, well, oftentimes, and I'm still learning this, slow runs are meant to be ran slow, and it makes you faster in the end.
Yes, and a lot yeah. And I definitely am one that believes that for sure. It's always helped me with all of my races, and it makes me feel stronger in my race, my actual race, and that's what my speed days are for. That's what speed day workouts are.
Right, right.
If that's when I'm gonna give it my all. That's where I'm just gonna go full throttle. But like I can't sustain that all the time. And I've tried. Believe me, I've tried. I've had a
Hmm.
bazillion injuries. And it mostly all came from nutrition, no strength training, no stretching,
Yeah,
or trying to run too fast all the time.
for sure. So you've had plenty to pick from, and I know your goal is 50, one in every state. So of the 30 marathons that you ran, I know you pointed to the one certainly that was pretty memorable as your friends and family were waiting for you. Any other ones that really just stand out to you as just some of your favorite or maybe even craziest marathons?
Yeah, I always bring up Big Sur. Big Sur is the one that I saw the whale breaching out of the ocean.
Uh,
I was running with a pace group. You start in Big Sur National Park and you go up Highway 1. You're in the forest but for about 6 miles. When you first see the ocean is right around 6 miles. So I'm running with the whole pace group. One of the people I was running with us, they said, well, I don't know why people think they can see whales here. You never see whales here. I've ran this so many times. And then right when she said that, the whale jumped out of the ocean and we
My
all saw
goodness.
it. And every single one of us just put our hands up in the air and we just like
Yeah.
screamed. We were so excited. I will never forget that moment. And I knew that I had so much longer to go, but I already knew that this was going to be my favorite running moment ever in my life.
Uh-huh.
And it was so amazing. And at mile 23, they give you a handful of fresh grown strawberries that at mile 23, when your mouth is just like this dry desert with like
Oh,
white
yeah.
things everywhere.
Yes. Like you have
And then
rabies.
somebody hands you these strawberries and you put them in the mouth and like literally the burst of sweetness that just
Yeah.
fills your mouth, like it just made me cry so hard like when I felt that. Like it was the best thing ever. Like by far my favorite marathon of all time. Like it was amazing. That one really sticks out to me. All the ones that were by the ocean, like Biloxi, Mississippi, I didn't think I was gonna I didn't have high expectations. Most of these smaller, like, marathons, I don't really have high expectations because if you don't have high expectations, you can't get let down if you don't have
Right,
any
right.
expectations. So, I'm just like, "Okay, let's just go with it," and then it was point to point, all ocean, right? All
Wow.
on the water. Just fell in love with that. It was flat as a pancake.
Mm.
It was just amazing. I really liked that marathon a lot. But my number 2 marathon is Mount Desert Island, and that's in Maine. So it's very similar to Big Sur, but on the opposite coast. And
Mhm.
it's point to point, same thing, and you're just hugging the coast. And it's a rocky coast that you're hugging, and that one is amazing. The medal they give you at the very end is a giant lobster claw
Wow.
medal. It is so great, and the merch there was so wonderful. Really, really like that, and so that was my number 2,
Okay.
marathon, but yeah, I could just go through every single one.
What about, have you ever just had one that was like, and again, like, not that we're trying to disrespect any marathon, but like one that was just wonky, like a What was that kind of race?
Kansas City, Missouri. Was not a fan, which is really disappointing because I went to school right there, very
Okay.
close. And I thought for sure like it would be memorable, like all these memories would come back to me while running. Thought it was gonna be this great thing. And nothing against the actual marathon because they had no control over the weather, but it was 80 degrees in October. At the start line. It was 80 degrees. So the merch wasn't great. The expo wasn't great. Not a lot of support. It was just everything about it was not great. I did not, because I knew that I was going to take that one slow. And really the goal of that one was to finish it, really.
Uh,
And so I looked at the time, and even though my time wasn't great, they still didn't do chip time. They only did gun time. And the start was way over there. Like it was
no.
just like they started at least 5 minutes before I started, at least,
My
if not
goodness.
more. And I reached out to the director so many times and they didn't. And I was like, listen, I understand, like it wasn't a great time, but I still finished like well before the time that you closed. And like, what? I
And the
don't understand why you wouldn't fix that. And they
and the
never fixed it.
and the irony is it's sponsored by Garmin. By
Exactly.
like Garmin headquarters, and they did gun time and not chip time.
Yes. It's crazy. They only did it for me. They didn't do it because my friend Courtney, who was like, the front of the front, like she wanted
Yeah.
to award at that one.
Yeah.
She had chip time, and so it
Wow.
worked for her. So yeah, that made me feel not so great about that one. And there was really nothing to look at. There is no scenery at all, and it was just
Yeah.
nothing about that marathon.
And it's super hilly from what I've heard too. Like,
I was gonna say that also. Yeah, like, it was like not only was it like so hot, but it was just like up, down, up, down. Not one half mile was flat. It was just straight up and down. And yeah, it just not the greatest course, not the greatest support, not the greatest expo, not the greatest merch. And then that chip time thing, all of that made it number 30 on my
and
list.
you didn't get to see any whales jumping
No.
out of the not at that one, huh?
Oh.
So, Jesse, I know one of the beautiful things I feel like for marathon training, and even if it's not marathon, even if people are training for half marathons or whatever their flavor is, sometimes the biggest challenge is training for the next one. And I don't know about you, but I've experienced this. It's always nice once you're inside of that, whatever you want to call it, that 12-week or 16-week training block. But there comes points in training cycles where it's just a grind and it's like, what am I doing? What motivates you to keep going in those moments where you're just like, I don't want to do this today?
There are definitely times where I have that feeling a little bit, especially because I run outside before work, and it's usually like here in Atlanta, the sun doesn't come out until like 7 a.m. So if I run at 4 a.m., it is pitch black outside. There's not a single soul anywhere. And think about that feeling I get when it's all done, and I feel so proud of myself for
Yeah.
actually doing it. And every time I don't wanna do it, I just think about that. And
Yeah.
then I just try to think about, just getting this one thing done, and then I'll be so happy after. And I'm very good at visualizing in my head, like drinking my cup of coffee after and,
Yeah.
just feeling so happy about getting it done. And also, I think Instagram really holds us accountable. I've been posting every day for years, and
Uh-huh.
I can tell you that for me, I know that I'm gonna post that, and if I don't do it, then I'm not gonna post it. And so I've had so many people reach out to me and they're like, "Hey, Jesse, I know that if you're one of the people that if I don't see a post, then I'm gonna think something's wrong, like something
Yep.
happened."
Yep.
People are looking out for that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I definitely think about those things.
For sure. So you bring up a good point when it comes to Instagram. I know it has been a very positive influence for me, just the sense of community. And I know we talked a little bit before we started recording, just the value of community and knowing that even on those 4 a.m. runs when not a single other soul is out and it's pitch black outside, that there are other people all over the country doing what you're doing, and just how motivating and encouraging it can be knowing that you know what, like haters are going to hate and people are going to be like, why post your runs or whatever, but you're not really posting for those people anyway. Just the sense of encouragement. So tell us a little bit about how that's impacted you and your journey, just really the sense of community that we find on social media, and certainly how you've contributed to that as well.
Definitely, like I said before, like it holds me accountable every day when I post myself. And then also seeing all my friends, posting their workout for the day. And it, like you said, like even though I'm alone I know that I have friends in North Carolina and Florida that are running at the same exact time. And, it's dark for them too. So I'm not the only one. I'm not the only crazy person out here.
Right,
Like,
right.
so I definitely feel like it is a running community. And so many people that, I know I have followed for so many years and seeing them knock off like different states and different races that they
Yeah,
want to or even reach their goals like that. Those kind of things make me so happy. Like I
right.
get so happy when I see other people reaching their goals. And I know we all know because we do it. Like we know how much hard work goes into every single day. Like, yeah, that medal is amazing, but it isn't about that medal. It's about all the work that we did to get there. And we all
Yes.
know what that feels like where, I can go to work and yeah, I have some runner friends at work, but I can go to work and I can talk about these trainings and no one really understands.
Yeah,
But our running, it's like a giant running club that we have that most of us have never met each other in
for
real life.
sure. And then so you get the opportunities to, and that's one of the things I selfishly I love about the podcast is at least kind of meeting people somewhat in person, but not completely. Just getting to know that these other people, they're not just internet characters, that they're real life human beings who have real life families and live real lives. And then just even cooler is the opportunity to get to meet these people at races. Tell us a little bit about, if you don't mind, maybe some of the people who you got to know through the running community online, and then maybe a race where you were able to meet them in person.
So Amber up for a run. I met her in
Yeah.
Tennessee. That was amazing. I was at the start line. Had no idea she was going to be there, and
Wow.
it was so incredible. I got to meet her and her amazing dad, and that was so cool. And then Kate in New Jersey, which I know she was on your podcast
Yes.
also.
Yeah.
So Kate, her and I met on here. And I told her I needed to do a marathon in New Jersey where she lives. And she said, "Hey, Jesse, would you want to come up here and stay with me and my family?" And here I was, like a person she's never met before. And she invited me in. And then here I was, never met them before, and I stayed at their house.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a risky thing, but it just felt good. Her and I had FaceTime many times. I met her family, she met mine. So I went up there and her and I were able to complete Atlantic City Marathon together, which was
Awesome.
really fun. So that was really great. I know that a lot of people that I have ran with, they actually became my Instagram friends after the marathon. So
Okay.
in Mount Desert Island, in the last 8 miles of the marathon, I met up with someone that was a marine biologist and she spent a lot of time on the ships. And the last 8 miles of the marathon, she just told me her whole life on the ships in the ocean. And it
Wow.
was just so fun. I love that one so much. And her and I are still friends to this day. And that was, gosh, I think that was 2014 maybe when we met. And then did Tennessee actually, and she ran. It was her first marathon ever, and she ran with her dog. Her dog
Wow.
was with us the whole time.
The full marathon.
Yep. Now this marathon is at the base of the Smoky Mountains, so
Okay.
it is there's unrunnable hills. There's hills that you
Okay.
absolutely cannot run. So it was a lot of walking up hills and then
Hmm.
running the flats and the downhills. And so we did that a lot. So it was so fun with her dog, and her dog was able to chase off some loose farm dogs also that were on that course,
Okay.
which was crazy. But that was really fun. But yeah, I've been able to meet a lot of people. I just met someone at the Louisville Derby Marathon, and it was her very first marathon, and I was nervous about that one for some reason. I was, like, really nervous, but it was her first marathon ever, and she wanted tips, and so I started giving her tips, and she followed me on Instagram, and she told me that she remembered that during the marathon, and, that made me so happy because I was so nervous at the beginning of
Yeah.
that one, so that was great. So I don't know if it's the meeting of the friends that you already have or meeting the people at the races all over the country and then being able to follow them after, which
Yeah,
is
that's a great point. Great
Mhm.
point. So, Jessi, Indy coming up in November. Tell us how training's going, or maybe just getting started, or maybe not quite started. What are your hopes, and what are your goals for Indy in 2026?
And to finish like all my other ones.
There you go.
That's my goal. That's always been the goal now, especially because I have that one in November, which I get to travel with one of my friends from work, which I'm super excited for.
Awesome.
Then I have Houston in January, so it's gonna be a really quick turnaround, probably one of the faster ones that I've done back to back. I've done some that were close, but not that close. I think I've done October to February or maybe October to January, but November to January is gonna be pretty
Pretty tight,
close.
yeah.
So I don't know how we're gonna work that, but we'll make it happen. And then after that, I have Idaho in July.
Nice.
I'm so excited. I think that one's probably one of the ones that I'm most excited for. I'm also excited for Houston because apparently everyone runs Houston. I didn't realize
Okay.
how many people ran. I posted that I signed up for it, and I don't know, probably 40 people told me that they were running it also.
Awesome.
So that's really great. So I'll probably meet some people there as well.
Idaho is beautiful. I think it's so underrated. We just returned from vacation, our family and I did. We stayed in Idaho, but we were going to Yellowstone and the Tetons. And so we were kind of, I think, on the eastern part. And I'd never seen a potato farm before. Those are really cool, but it's absolutely beautiful. There are, depending on where you're at, there are bears there,
Yeah,
and moose and elk.
so the marathon summary, so you will run into Yellowstone. So that's
Nice.
where the marathon goes. And in
Okay.
the summary, it says like beware. There's a lot of
Be bear aware. They have brochures.
there's a lot. You have to like really keep your eyes open because there's all kinds of wild. At the very end, they do give you a huckleberry shake, which is very exciting.
Okay. I just did this really dorky Yellowstone episode. That's the last podcast that aired. So, all things huckleberry flavor. I'm so glad you brought that up because my wife and girls thought I was the world's biggest dork. And maybe I am, but I brought back huckleberry everything, everything. And I don't care. I have no shame about it. And I still don't. Jelly, honey, syrup. I drink huckleberry soda. I had a huckleberry milkshake, and I'm lactose intolerant, but I don't care. It was it was worth it every time. So, Jessi, anything huckleberry, it is worth it.
I know. So
And that's
what
incredible.
me and my friend Courtney are doing that one together, and we keep saying like, "Oh, if we ever run away from bears, at least there's a huckleberry shake waiting for us at the end."
That's right. And the brochure that they have called the Be Bear Aware brochure is very informational. If you see a bear, don't run, which is the whole point of what you're doing is running.
Yeah.
And then if the bear, you're supposed to make a bunch of noise while you're running to repel bears away. But if a bear makes physical contact with you, the brochure says that you are to play dead. Then, if it still is messing with you this is what the brochure says. If it's still messing with you while you're playing dead, then you are to stand up and fight the bear aggressively. That is what the brochure says. So, the more you know, and if that's of any help, I pray that you don't get chased by a bear. But if you do, now you're prepared.
I think I would get all my steps mixed up.
Yeah, I would too. I just would run for the milkshake or find someone that runs a little bit slower than me, and then you're good. So you don't have to worry about it. Anyway,
Yeah.
you'll
They
love
have
it.
to have people that monitor it, like, while people are running out there, like, you have to.
I hope so. If you've never ran with bear spray, that's a wild ride because I did. I had my water in one hand and bear spray in the other. So anyway, when you're taking on multiple marathons, because you say you typically, I mean, you'd have to with that number of marathons that you ran, multiple in a year. Do you take a different approach to those races? I mean, is it the same approach for all of them? Just get to the start line and finish? Or do you try to say, you know what, this one, I'm just going to relax and whatever happens, happens. But this one, I'm really going to go for a PR. I'm really going to get after it this one.
I used to at the very beginning. My goal was to break 4. I got to 4:02, which was so close.
Uh-huh.
But I can tell you, so 4:02 was Hartford, Connecticut, and that marathon, I do not remember one single thing about where I ran. Like, my surroundings, what I was looking at, because I was just focusing on the number, and I
Yeah.
was not paying attention to anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I told myself after, because I got so close so many times, it was like 4:02, 4:05, 4:06, 4:11. Like, they were all like so close.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, you know what? I just want to have fun. If I'm going to be traveling for these marathons, I want to remember.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So it all really depends on race day temperatures, which
Uh-huh.
for me always tends to be like the surface of the sun hot that day. It's
Yep.
usually like the record breaking heat that day. I did Fargo in North Dakota, and it was the hottest day on record that day of the marathon.
Ah,
But, however, that was my top 5 marathons, actually. It was
nice.
so amazing. It was super flat, just, like, very hot, but we ran through shaded neighborhoods, and I promise you, almost every single person was outside of their houses, and they were
Uh,
standing out with, sprinklers and cold
cool.
drinks, and it was just so fun, and I finished that one. It was relatively good time, too, and I just had, like, the best time ever.
Uh,
But I now, and especially if it's hot and humid that day, I just say I'm gonna try to finish it. Like,
yeah.
that's it. I'm just gonna try to finish and see what happens, and I just wanna have a good time. That's my goal. Like I
Yeah.
said before, I just wanna be uninjured, and I wanna finish feeling somewhat okay, especially if I have another marathon that I gotta start training for almost immediately after.
Right, right, right. Good stuff. That's such a valuable lesson to not forget to look around and to enjoy what you're doing. Like someone who coached me once and she did a great job of being just such a great encourager was she would always say the race is a celebration. Like you put the work in, the race is the celebration. And it's so true. I think oftentimes we get so wrapped up in our time. Like you said, you forget to look around and enjoy that, you're in a place you've probably never been in your life or maybe never will be again. And there's a lot of value to that. So
And if you're taking your time and just having fun, then that's when you get to meet people from the area, you get to meet
right.
from other places, and that has really been a big thing for me. I've been able to meet so many people. I did, however, I think I hurt some people's feelings when I was in North Dakota, and I did not mean to. So I was running with the whole pace group, and I was telling them how Dakota was so much different, or Fargo was so much different than what I thought of in my mind.
Yeah.
They said, "What did you think it was gonna be?" And I just said, "It's just a lot more civilized, like, there's just a lot more people." And they, "Yeah, we're civilized over here." And I was like, "Boy, I ruffled some feathers on that run." I did not mean to do that. But no, Fargo, North Dakota was absolutely incredible. I love people. There was so much to do. I really had so much fun. That and South Dakota. South Dakota, I got to meet Hannah, which Hannah, we're Instagram friends now from riding together on the bus to the marathon. And I got to see her since running that marathon. I got to see her grow her beautiful family. And it's just been so great. So yeah, that's another reason why I love the running community. She's amazing. She's so great. Her and I got along so well on the bus. And gosh, that was a long time ago. And her and I are still that was 2021. So yeah, 5 years ago. We're still.
Wow. Wow. All right. Well, one last question for you, Jesse. As I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of people who listen and who watch who are experienced runners, but we also have a lot who maybe are just kind of starting out or maybe just starting to dabble and maybe trying a 5K out in the fall, and they're really scared to literally take that first step. What advice would you give?
Coming from someone that never in a million years thought that I would ever be a runner, and sometimes it's tough for me to say that. even after all the work I've done. I can tell you that anyone can run. Anyone can run. Like I said before, taking those small steps and being able to reach those small goals and then just making bigger and bigger goals for yourself is so important. But I was the one in gym class that I would physically get sick running a marathon or running a mile. When we had to do the president thing
Yeah.
and run a mile, I would like physically get sick because there was no way I could run a mile. I tried hard, but I couldn't.
Uh,
And so I used to make fun of people that worked out all the time, and here I am, I became that person. But I can tell you that if I can do it, I believe that anyone can do it.
yeah. Yeah. Well, Jesse, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. You are an incredible inspiration to so many people. This has been a ton of fun. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was so fun.
You bet. Well, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, this has been Jesse Marquardt on the Run Dusty Run podcast, where as always, we continue to encourage you to keep showing up and keep going.